Hi. Hey, I want to talk to you today about integrity. And I'm going to ask, would yours stand up to scrutiny? The reason I ask this, I've been reading in the paper recently lots of stuff that makes me shake my head and wonder what the heck people are actually thinking of. And what I'm talking here is about the lack of integrity. And I just want to outline a few things that I'm reading here that absolutely blow my mind. And here's one from James Coney from the Sunday Sunday Times. And I'm going to read here specifically. Here we go. And he says, it's time to break the fund manager's code of silence. And he goes on to say, and I'm quoting directly from him here, I hear from unhappy Hargraves customers all the time, he says. What rankles most is that no one has taken the blame. A business where no one takes responsibility for such a devastating series of errors clearly has weak leadership. And you know what? I go along and I absolutely agree with him, with what he's saying. You know, it seems that people can get away from accepting their responsibilities and taking ownership, then they will do that. Too many people are ready to assert their rights without first accepting their responsibilities to go with those rights. It actually goes against integrity and beliefs and what your values stand for. Now, for me, values are the rules that we live our lives by. Now, value is this, I believe. If you apply this value and no one found out that you broke it or it would cost you money or cause embarrassment, would you still do it? Now, very few people will put their hand up and lose money or risk embarrassment because it's all about saving face. And you've got to get away from this because I've found often that when people don't put their hand up, the lie just gets worse and worse and it comes back to bite them big time. Now, if you admit your mistake, it's embarrassing. However, that pretty much ends the issue because people accept mistakes because we all make mistakes, we're human. Now, let me read another article for you. Let me just get it here. One supplier, it says here, issued a county clerk claim to recover £13,000 in debt. And it goes on to say, the client, gave every excuse under the sun not to pay. They sent checks which bounced. They're elusive. They just hope you don't have the appetite to pursue them. And then they just go and find some other mug to fall into the same trap. Carl Tandy, owner of KT Building, he says that he received £7,000 of the £115,000 he's owed for work carried out on a Worthing store ahead of its opening. I've been pulling my hair out, he says, over this. They should not have ordered the work if they couldn't afford to pay for it. Now, here's a plea from a business owner. And I'll tell you what, my heart actually goes out to him because he's got a family to feed. He's got a business to run. He's got overheads and someone is pulling the wool over his eyes. And that really, really guts me. Now, if you're that person, have the guts to go and have a courageous conversation and say, I'm struggling at this stage. Can we work this out? By, as he said, sending dud checks, this is Carl Tandy, being elusive does nothing for your integrity. In fact, it's going to find you out because karma says what goes around comes around. Here's another one from Virgin Active. Let me read this one. They're forcing landlords to write off or defer rent arrears and take a haircut on future rents. Now get a load of this. Virgin Active are using a controversial new tool that will allow it to push through a restructuring even if it is opposed by property owners. It goes on to say, I'm reading here, about a fortnight ago, the gym chain advised by the accountancy firm Deloitte to send a letter to creditors outlining the plan. It's just beggars belief, I'm afraid. Now, I'm not for or against business owners or landlords or renters, but what it's saying to both parties is get around the table and talk. Outline what is actually going on and actually have a look at what needs to happen and have that courageous conversation together. I think it's just gutless when people won't actually talk to try and resolve an issue, or they go to their accountant or their solicitor and use the legalese to try and get out of a situation. Heaven forbid, actually doing the right thing and keeping their integrity intact to resolve an issue seems to be something from the past. Now, If it goes against your integrity and it goes against your values when you try and welsh out of a deal, that goes to your lack of integrity. And business owners and leaders look at your integrity. What do you value? What are your beliefs? How can you actually make something happen if you've got a problem so you can actually resolve it? Landlords, if you've got a tenant who's struggling, talk with them. Tenants, if you've got a problem, talk with your landlord. Have that courageous conversation. Don't hide behind legalese and try to welsh out of the deal, because it's your integrity that's here. Here's the thing. Very few people in the world are absolute idiots or asses, if I can use that word, who actually won't engage or talk with you, who are just going to take you for every penny that's out there. If you've got that type of person, get away from them as quickly as possible, all right? Because it will come back to bite you, and it will actually come back to bite them as well. If you're a business owner or a leader, do the right thing. If you're an employee, do the right thing by your boss. Remember that your boss has got all the overheads to pay. You can go home at 5 o'clock at night and enjoy yourself, have dinner, and come back the next day. The boss has got all the overheads. Integrity. If you've got an issue, talk about it. See what the compromise is. If you owe money, put your hand up and say, I owe this. What can we do to resolve this? Have that courageous conversation with the other party. Integrity and values, it's so important. And you let yourself down if you don't live by your values or you don't live by your integrity.